Hello, my name is Maria Fernandez, and today I'll be presenting Plato's tripartite theory of the soul and its reflection in the ideal society. He was a founder of the Academy in Athens, and he established one of the earliest institutions of higher learning in the Western world. He was also very influenced by his teacher, Socrates, whose methods of dialogue and inquiry were the ones who shaped Plato's philosophical approach. He's also the author of The Republic, which he explores justice and the just individual and the just in society, and he also introduces the tripartite theory of the soul. His contributions are immense, and at the core of his philosophy lies his theory of the soul, which it was a theory that lays the groundwork for his vision of the ideal society. To truly understand his theory, we must first understand the fundamental components. Plato's theory divides the soul into three distinct parts: the appetites, the spirit, and the reason, which would be the soul, the mind, and the body. Each part has its own distinct characteristic and its own function. We would see this on the next slide. Beginning with the appetite, which represents our basic desires and needs. The appetite is responsible for our physical urges and our cravings. This includes desires for food, drink, sex, and other bodily pleasures. The role in human existence is that this is necessary for the existence and spread of life, and it drives us to satisfy our survival instinct. For example, our hunger, our thirst, and our sexual desire. Next, we have the passions or spirits, which is the spirit that encompasses our emotions, our ambitions, and our drives. This could be associated with feelings of anger, pride, and indignation. It also influences ethical judgments and it responds to social dynamics, and it is very essential for protecting one's self-esteem and social status. For example, this could be when we feel anger, when we're wrong, and when we feel pride in our achievements. Third, we have the intellect, the reason. The reason is a rational and logical part of the soul. It engages in critical thinking, planning, and reflection. This provides direction and governance over other parts of the soul and is essential for making the moral decisions and pursuing truth and wisdom. For example, it's when solving a complex problem or when we make some ethical choices. So understanding the roles of appetite, spirit, and reasons individually is very crucial. But how do they interact to achieve harmony within the soul? Well, first, the appetites, the spirit, and reason must work together, and the reason should govern the appetites and the spirit to maintain a balance. A balanced soul leads to a virtuous and just individual. When each part performs its proper function under the guidance of reason, the soul achieves harmony and the individual lives a balanced and fulfilled life. So with a clear picture of how the soul achieves balance, we can now apply these principles to society. Let's see how this theory translates into his vision of an ideal society. First, let's consider the producers, who correspond to the appetites in the soul. They're the economic foundation of society, so they include the farmers, artisans, merchants, and others who create material wealth and resources. Their role is very essential for sustaining the basic needs and the livelihoods of all citizens. So, their significance is economic foundation and importance, the creation of material wealth and resources, the impact that they have on social stability, and they also maintain the social equilibrium and order. In essence, the producers maintain social equilibrium by ensuring that everyone's basic needs are met. Their work supports the other classes. They allow that the guardians and the rulers to perform their functions effectively. So, in Plato's ideal society, the producers are the backbone of the economy. This balanced and structured approach ensures that society functions harmoniously, just as a well-regulated soul leads to a balanced and virtuous individual. Now let's delve into the role of the guardians. The primary role of the guardians is basically to protect society from external threats and internal discord. So this means that they defend the state from invasions, attacks, and any form of external aggression. And internally, they maintain order and prevent civil unrest, ensuring that the society remains stable and secure. They protect society from external threats, like I said. They preserve also the cultural and moral integrity. They maintain social order, and they enforce laws and regulation. Let's now explore the role of the rulers. The primary responsibility of the rulers is to implement a fair and just policies. They must ensure that the laws and regulations they create are equitable and promote the common good. Their decisions must reflect the values of fairness and justice. So, like I said, they promote social equity and equality. They also foster intellectual development, and they encourage critical thinking and intellectual growth. Now that we have discussed the roles of the producers, guardians, and rulers, let's focus on how these roles collectively define justice in society, how they mirror the harmony within the soul. To understand how justice operates in society, we need to first consider how it functions within the individual soul. The parallel between the soul and the state sets the stage for exploring how social and individual moral values align to create a just society. Justice in society basically means the alignment of social and individual moral values, the consistency in ethical principles and actions, and just as virtuous souls leads to a balanced and fulfilled individual, a society that cultivates virtue among its citizens will be more just and harmonious. It also includes the cultivation of virtuous citizens and leaders. Having explored how justice is defined, both within the individual and the society, let's now summarize the key points and reflect the implication of Plato's vision. To wrap up, let's revisit the main points we've covered. We first started with Plato's tripartite theory of the soul, where the soul is divided into three parts: appetites, spirit, and reason. And each of these parts has its own function and importance in achieving a very balanced and virtuous individual. This understanding of the soul structure is crucial because it lays the foundation for how Plato envisions a just society. We then explore the application to ideal society, how Plato applies this theory to his ideal society. Just as the soul has three parts, society also has three corresponding classes: the producers, the guardians, and the rulers. Each class performs a specific role that mirrors the function of the appetite, spirit, and reason. We also examine how justice in society mirrors justice in the individual soul. Just as the parts of the soul must work together under the guidance of reason, when class in society performs its proper function and maintains a harmonious relationship with the others. To sum up, Plato's philosophy provides a deep understanding of the connection between social justice and individual justice. I hope this exploration of Plato's tripartite theory of the soul and its reflection in the ideal society has provided you with some valuable insight into his vision of justice. Thank you for listening.